Hello my dear students, I hope you are okay. Today's topic is grammar practice. We are going to practice the grammar knowledge that we had in the last session. If you remember, in the last session we had the adjectives, the comparative and the superlative form, we had to and enough, as well we had the clauses of purpose and the clauses of result. So we are going to have exercises to practice this knowledge. Let's go on with the first one. Here we have a short revision of adjectives, so we are going to go quickly to it to make a quick revision. So let's start. We have got here some adjectives, some sentences with adjectives in the comparative form. For example, he is more generous than his brother. In this case, we have a long adjectives with 2 or more syllables. That's why we use more plus adjective plus than. Then we have she is kinder than her brother. We have this shelter is bigger than that one. Be careful, we have doubled the G because we have one vowel between 2 consonants. That's why we double the last consonant. And then we add ER or EST. The next one, this place is noisier than that one. Be careful, here it is the adjective noisy actually, which ends with an Y, but we drop the Y because we have got an consonant before the Y, and we add ER or EST. The last one, Brad is a better volunteer than Andy. Better, as you can see, is the comparative form of good, which is an irregular adjective. Here we have some superlative forms. Mother Teresa was the greatest charity worker of all the time. Then we have she is also the most inspirational of all. To me, Brad Pitt is one of the biggest philanthropists in the world. As you can see, we use the most before an adjective which has 2 or more syllables, and we use always the before a superlative degree, and it ends with EST. On the other side, we have when do we use the comparative and the superlative form? We use the comparative to compare one person or one thing to another person or thing, and we use the superlative form to compare one person or thing to all the person or things in the same group. Then we have some irregular forms. Be careful, good and well, which is the adverb of good. They are the comparative and superlative is better or the best. Then we have bad, the superlative is the worst and the comparative worse than. Then we have much and many with the comparative forms more and most, as well as little with less and least. Be careful with very, which is used only before an adjective which doesn't have a comparative or superlative form in the sentence. For example, he is very helpful. In this case, the word very is just used to emphasize the adjective. Then we have much, a lot of, a little, a bit and slightly before adjectives which are always in the comparative form. Pra keni kujdes, përpara një mbiemri në shkallën krahasore, ne mund të përdorim much, a lot of, a little, a bit, slightly, për të rritur disi ose për të ulur më shumë shkallën e krahasimit. Për shembull, he is much faster than Jim. We have to and enough. To is used before an adjective or an adverb to say that something is more than we want, while enough is used after the adjective to say that something is as much as we want. When we use to, we give a negative meaning to the sentence. We can use enough plus a noun as well to say that it is as much as we want. For example, he is clever enough to know she was lying, or he has got enough money to buy the painting. And now let's practice the adjectives in the following exercises. Exercise number 1 says put the adjectives in brackets in the comparative or the superlative form. So we need to understand if the sentence is comparing one person or thing to another person or thing, or if in the sentence it is compared one person or thing to the rest of the persons or things in the same group. Number 1. How did your volunteer work go? It was amazing experience I have ever had. So the most amazing experience, right? Thanks a lot for all your help, Jill. It was little I could do, so it was the least I could do. We have, did you manage to raise a lot of money? Not really. It was difficult, I expected. So we are comparing two situations. That's why we use more difficult than. Then we have, what's wrong with you, Nora? I've just had bad day of my life. Nora is comparing her day to all the rest of her days. So it is the superlative form of bad, which is the worst. How old is your sister? She is 2 years old me. In this case, we are comparing the sister with this person. So older than. How did the charity concert go? Great. It was, the adjective is good, concert I have ever been to. In this case, we are comparing this concert to all the concerts that this person has been to. So it is the best. Isn't the bank half a mile from the library? No, it's far than that, at least 2 miles. It is farther because we are comparing two distances. Did the kids enjoy the trip to the zoo? Yes. They were excited, I expected. We are comparing two situations, so more excited than I expected. Here we have another exercise. In this case, we are going to underline the correct word or phrase. Isn't Orla a much or very helpful girl? In this case, helpful, the adjective helpful, does not have any degree. And which of these words do we use just to emphasize the degree? Just to emphasize the adjective, sorry, it is the word very. They don't have enough or too money to buy food. As we know, we don't use to with a noun, we use only enough plus a noun to say that we have as much as we want. Fiona is much nicer than Betty. So we are going to use more or much before the adjective nicer. As you can see, nicer is in the comparative form, so we are going to say much nicer than. Ned was ill yesterday, but he feels bit or much better today. So what do you think? What are we going to use? We know that to use bit, we should have the word a in front of it. So we're going to say much better today. Alan is far more generous than his sister. As we can see, we have a comparative form of adjective here, and after a comparative we use always than. Most people are enough selfish or too selfish to care about others' problem. So it is too selfish. And now we have the clauses of purpose or the clauses of result that we had in the previous lesson as well. As we said, the clauses of purpose are in Albanian fjalit qëllimore, ndërsa clauses of results fjalit rrjedhimore. We have got the words that we use to introduce them. We have to, so as to, or in order to plus an infinitive, or so that plus can, could, will, or would. Be careful with the clauses of the result. They are introduced with such plus a singular countable noun. We can use adjective or no, but it is very important to use a or an before the noun. So such a beautiful girl, for example. Then we have such plus an uncountable noun or a plural noun. In this case, we can use or no, we don't use an adjective. For example, such bad weather. We have such plus a lot of plus plural uncountable nouns plus that. Pra mund të përdorim fjalën such për sërimin një emër që është në numër shumës ose i panumërueshëm, gjithmonë i shoqëruar me fjalën a lot of dhe gjithmonë duhet kemi that plus një clause mbrapa. Then we have so plus adverb or adjective without any noun. Then we have so plus few or many plus a plural noun, and then we have so plus little, much plus an uncountable noun. Now let's practice these forms now in the sentences that we have in exercise number 4. Clauses of purpose and results. Write sentences using the prompts in the words in brackets, The first one is already done. He was such a generous man that everyone loved him, so we have used the word such. They held concert, raise money, charity in order to. So we are going to use in order to. They held a concert in order to raise money for charity. The next one. They are planning to dig a well. The villagers have clean water. So they are planning to dig a well so that the villagers have clean water. The students raised money tsunami survivors, and here we are going to use the word for. So the students raised money for the tsunami survivors. He closed door, keep the heat in, so as to. You know that when we use in order to or so as to, we need always an infinitive after them. So this sentence would be, he closed the door so as to keep the heat in. The last one, the doctor gave them his number. They could call him. So the sentence would be, the doctor gave them his number so that they could call him. And here we have another exercise. You are going to choose the correct word. Here we have the clauses of purpose. So Bill had so or such money that he gave half of it to charity, and it is so much money because we have got an uncountable noun and use much. It was so or such a hot summer that all my plants needed watering every day. We have an uncountable noun with an adjective, so we use such a hot summer. Donna was such or so touched by the poverty she saw that she wanted to help. And the correct word is so touched, because it is just an adjective. We don't have a noun following it. It was such or so a devastating storm that thousands were left homeless, and it is such a devastating storm. He had so or such little time left that he couldn't finish the test. And as we said, we use little plus an uncountable noun with so. Here it is your homework. You are going to write sentences using these phrases. Try to be careful when using, for example, such a lovely day. You are going to use such plus adjective and the word day. Worse than, you are going to compare two things, for example. The most generous person, you are going to compare one thing to or one person to the rest of the group. So be careful when writing these sentences. I hope you enjoy this hour. See you in the next session. Bye.